I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Wednesday, March the 9th, brought to you in part by Margin Tracks by Midcon, the system you've been waiting for. Keep an updated snapshot of your cattle margin, your hedge margin, and net margin right at your fingertips. Visit midconcattle.com for more information, or just scan the QR code here on your screen. Volatility reigns, mostly lower on the cattle, of course. Well, not on the futures. They've been higher the last couple of days, but that's everybody kind of follows the futures whenever everything's going right. But to see your cattle futures going up amid all this volatility and collapsing of your cash markets just kind of shows you that it doesn't really indicate what's going on in real life. It's just what a bunch of traders and algorithm and computer programs decide to do with it. But your market's lower, guys, and I told you your futures are not the market. Your market's the cash market, and it's lower, sharply lower in a lot of places. But the volatility continues on your grains, which is one thing that is hurting your cash cattle market, especially feeder markets there. But just like you can look at your hard red winter wheat, Kansas City wheat. Last week it was up $3.09 for the week. On Tuesday it was down 51 3/4 cents. I mean, how does that figure? And I will grant you that they do raise a lot of hard red winter wheat, or maybe not exactly hard red, but a winter wheat variety in Ukraine. They planted about the same time, they harvested about the same time that we do here in the Southern Plains. And we're not sure whether or not that crop's going to be tended or not. Are they going to be able to get in there and fertilize that crop, when they're running for their lives? Probably not. Will it even get harvested? I don't think they do a lot of grazing of that over there. We don't know. That the whole place could be a parking lot by the time they get done with it, by the time Putin gets done. He's not going to give up. Putin's not going to quit, and he's not going to admit defeat. So he's just going to keep pounding away at this deal. Now, the Ukrainian people and their army may fighting back, and indeed Putin's own people may be the downfall of him, but he's keeping those pretty much arrested as they come out and they try to protest against the war. They put them in prison, and it's not a pretty thing. So this Putin deal, he's a evil tyrant, and he is pretty much disrupting the whole world right now, and all of your world markets and the way that everybody lives, on this whole planet. But March feeder cattle were down, and all your others were up. Well, we're getting far enough into March now. It needs to kind of tie itself to the cash market, so it needed to back up a little bit, and it got pretty close to what your most recent real-time index was by the end of Tuesday's trading. Your fat cattle trade did start and is pretty well established now at 138. That's $3 to $5 lower in the north and $2 lower in the south. There's no longer a premium for your better grading cattle in the north. Pretty much everything bringing 138, and that doesn't make a whole lot of sense either. Well, you can, whenever you see your choice select spread is much tighter, and it's not near what it was. It's not as tight as what it was there a couple of weeks ago whenever we had select trade above choice, but it's back there kind of a normal range, about $6 there. But those better cattle, those better grading cattle, they yield or dressing percent a lot better than those cattle that are not as heavily finished too, and so they're just more attractive overall. But all your cattle bringing about the same. We did hear from President Magoo. He said no more buying of oil or importing of oil for the U.S. from Russia. Well, that should have been a no-brainer, I would have thought, but I don't know, you're differing quotes on that. Some say we get about 10% of our oil that we consume in this country from Russia, and some say it's only 2 or 3%. I don't know. It's not a significant amount, but just dropping that, we're going to have to get it from somewhere, and it doesn't appear that we have started to really ramp up our production here. Of course, we've got so many regulations against it and things that it makes it tough to do that. But we know that we're going to continue to pay more for gas at the pump, and that is just making it tough on everybody. And then, of course, the gouging on the diesel is way worse than it is on your gas. And I heard from some other people that says diesel is about $1 higher where they're at than what gas is, and that just doesn't make any sense at all. But let's talk about your futures market for Tuesday. April live cattle futures were up $1.15 at 139.05. June up $1.52 at 135.45. Going your back months, they were unchanged to up as much as $1.17. March feeder cattle, like I just mentioned earlier, they were down 57 to try to get in line with what cash is doing. It's a cash settled product, 154.02. April feeder cattle, though, were up 65 cents at 160.32. On your back months, we're all up more than that, from 95 cents to up 140, just getting a portion of those gains that we lost, a portion of those losses back that we lost last week. Corn up 5 1/4 cents at 754.5. Beans were up 30 1/4 at 1704.5 cents a bushel. Kansas City hard red winter wheat down 51 3/4 cents, trading at 11.86 at the close of normal trading on Tuesday. Fat cattle trade, like I said, is all 138 pretty much. Iowa had about 300 head confirmed. Nebraska about 2,900 head confirmed at 138. Kansas 7,900 head, pretty decent amount of trade in Kansas, all at 138. In Texas, about 4,600 head, which is more than they traded the last couple of weeks altogether, and it was 137 to largely 138. But Stockman's Livestock in Yankton, South Dakota, their fat cattle auction there, it was $4.50 to $6 lower on conventional type cattle, bringing from 137 to 142. Your drug-free and non-implanted program type cattle bring from 141.5 to 146.5, but sure lower, because we actually saw those bring a pretty good price there the last couple of weeks as our direct market was kind of searching for a direction, and we were wobbling here. We saw your fat cattle auction sell really well, but I mean, everybody knows, town drunk knows that cattle are cheaper now, and so there's no hiding it there. How about box beef cutout values? They were lower again. We saw higher on Monday. We thought maybe we'd established a little bit of footing there, but a bunch lower on Tuesday. Choice cuts down 227 at 250, 250.44, and selects down 528 at 244.94. Your slaughter, very aggressive, so packers are making money. 125,000 head harvested on Tuesday. That's the most we've seen just up through the 2 days of the week. So far for the week, 250,000 cattle slaughtered this week. That's 4 more than last week and 9,000 more than the same week a year ago. Talk about what else is going on. Don't forget about that property that Tonto Cassie has got listed there, that Southwest Missouri cattle ranch north of Bolivar, Missouri on Highway 83. 2,140 acres more or less for sale there. Everything you would need to run a top cattle outfit there. They got 4 wells, they've got ponds, they've got streams, they've got automatic waters all over that place. They've got hay barns, heated shops, equipment sheds, grain bins, pipe corrals, 400 acres of mature timberland. There'll be some good hunting in there too. The balance is going to be good bottom land there. A lot of it cross-fenced and hay meadows and the like, but everything you would need. They had a purebred herd there for a good while, so everything you would absolutely need to run your cattle operation if you're looking at relocating there. But get a hold of Tom Cassie real estate if you're interested in that property. How about your feeder cattle market? Your real-time index on DV auction late in the day on Tuesday set at 153.62. That was down exactly $1. So we're going to be in the 140s here before long on your real-time index based on an 800-pound steer, and your CME cash feeder cattle index is right behind it, just a day behind. But that's brought to you by Margin Tracks by Midcon. Talk about your big sales on Tuesday. Ozarks Regional Stockyard, West Plains, Missouri had 3,600 head in the barn. Another 1,050 on their in-house video they do with DV auction. Market was tough. $4 to $8 lower. Didn't have a good test of yearlings, but $4 to $8 lower on calves and stockers. Spots as much as $12 lower. But they did have some steers weighed just a pinch over 5. Bring $2 a pound there still, so it was lower, but still selling pretty respectable there. How about Imperial, Nebraska, Imperial livestock market there, 2,400 head. Look at this automated market report from them, pretty impressive quotes. 200 head of 6-weight steers average 642 at 175.53. 139 head of 7-weight steers average 756 at 154.99. 373 head of 8-weight steers averaged 850 with a weighted average price of 150.13. That's impressive too. You may not think it is, but that's impressive. 488 head of 8-weight heifers averaged 853 at 137.04. How about Kimball Livestock Exchange in Kimball, South Dakota? 4,700 head for them. And look at their automated market report. 338 head of 6-weight steer calves averaged 654 with a weighted average price of 182.19. 510 head of 7-weight steer calves averaged 743 with a weighted average price of 169.53. That trend was actually more than $6 higher on your 7-weight steer calves. Must have been some with some stalker type condition in there. 1,282 head of 8-weight steers in Kimball, South Dakota averaged 862 with a weighted average price of 154. And I did see one load of 8-weight steers there in Kimball that brought more than 160. I think they brought 160 and a half. So that may be the last load that we see for a while. 498 head 7-weight heifers averaged 750 at 144.37. How about some other individual quotes around the circuit? Lolly Brothers Livestock Market, Macon, Missouri, sold 80 head, 664-pound steers at 181. Denny Rezac Livestock Commission Company in St. Mary's, Kansas, sold 124 head of 783-pound steers at 158.85. So that's pushing 160 there, and I would consider that pretty far south for that. But the best quote that I saw anywhere on Tuesday, your Growl Grow top quote for the day, come out of John Campbell's sale at Winter Livestock, La Junta, Colorado. I accused him of giving away free whiskey and free setups there, and he just laughed, which made me a little bit curious there too. But 78 head, 619-pound steers in La Junta, Colorado, and it'd be dry there at 210. That's your feeder flash for Wednesday.